Hello dear friends, I'm Roland homeopath in Royston on Vancouver Island, and today it's spring and we are out here again by the ocean. You see here there's the bay and there's the Strait of Georgia. On the other side you see the mountains of Texada Island and of the mainland, and the water is kind of low or halfway down, and here on these mud flats there's a lot of birds that move through here in spring and in fall. This morning I was inside the house and then I heard something call and I ran out there. And what did I see? I saw up on the sky this beautiful wedge of a flock of sandhill cranes that were moving through, calling. And it was not too long later there was another flock came, again in wedge shape, of white-fronted geese that were moving north. And I was impressed and I started thinking about they constantly are calling each other. Constantly this onk onk onk, or this melodious call of the cranes. Biologists have a certain expression for it, but I think in poetry the one that expressed it most beautiful was, I think it was the Swedish poet Selma Lagerlöf, when she in her children's books described it as the geese are constantly saying, "I'm here, where are you? I'm here, where are you?" And so when they are flying, it's constantly this communication with each other. "I'm here, where are you?" And through that communication, through that call and answer, this is how they stay together and how they know they are not alone. And this being not alone is so important, not only for us humans, it's also in nature. And I was thinking, there's so much that goes like that. My friend, I have a friend who's a farmer here, and he got young chicks. And when chicks come out of the egg, then they started poking at the egg from inside, and mom starts helping them sometimes from the outside. And this call and answer, and this is how something new is being born. It's not out of one thing, it's often born out of this relationship, out of this conversation, something new arises. And I thought this is also nice, like with my dear friend, dear wife Barb, I sit in the evening often by the fire or by a candle, and just for 20 minutes we talk with each other and we share what's going on in us. And again, it's kind of the same thing. This is where I am, where are you? And to communicate that. And I guess that much of life is going in that way and working that way, that we are calling out, that we're saying something and there's an answer. We're asking for something and there's an answer. And it's really important, this asking for something. Because through this asking for something, through our needs, this is one way how we are interwoven with each other. I think God didn't want us to do everything alone that we wanted to do alone, because He wants us to be connected. This is how we are made. We are made for connection. Now, to speak, to speak out our needs, to give it voice, to give it language, is something very important. Sorry. And what comes to mind is this old story. Is it a fairy tale or a myth? I don't know. That's an old story, that starts like in this. There's a queen and there's grief around the queen because she cannot conceive a child. And one day this queen walks in the forest and she meets an old woman. And she asks, and the old woman says, "There's something sad around your heart. What's the matter?" And the queen told her. And the advice of the old woman was, you have to give voice and language to your longing. You have to speak your longing, your yearning for a child, into a cup, and then flip the cup over onto the dark earth and let it grow from there. And this is how the whole story begins. And this is something very, very beautiful. Gee, maybe you can hear the seagulls having a talk with each other. Yeah, they also do that, this calling each other and answering each other constantly. And it's also like in native people, my native elder once told me we pray loud in the sweat lodge and like that. In my upbringing, we often prayed silently, in silence. Or when we prayed loud, that it was more a certain prayer that we learned by heart and kind of recited. Native people here, they pray loud. And why? My elder told me because the spoken word is closer to reality. It's closer to things coming true. And I think there's something very, very beautiful about that we speak our need, that we speak our prayer, and it can be answered. This is important in relationships. Sometimes we have expectations. We don't speak our need, we expect something. And very often these expectations are the result of separation and are creating new separation. Whereas when we speak, then we can be heard. We might not always get what we want, but it's important that we still speak our needs and don't abandon ourselves. And in this speaking our need, we also can keep things alive so that they have a chance to come into our life. So if I can encourage you to something here, when you hear the birds talk with each other, or maybe a flock of chickadees going through your garden and constantly calling one another, maybe think about communicating and speaking your truth. When we share our truth, when we share our needs, this is where we are connected, where we come into connection, and it's also where things are being born out of and things can come into our life. Thank you for being out here by the beach today, and I hope you enjoy the spring as much as I do, and have a good time and see you next time.